Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tom Kinski.
Thank you. You know, my friend Carmen, who organized this, and I use that term loosely, friend, he said to me, Tom, I've got 2 time slots for you. I've got at night between 9 to 9:45 after dinner, or I got the next morning at 7 a.m. So that was my choice. Now I gotta tell you, it was a tough one because for my American friends, 9 to 9:45, okay, no big deal. They'd rather sleep in tomorrow. But for my French friends who came today, this is a very late evening. So I think 7 o'clock would have been better for them. But I made a tough choice, and I went with my American friends on this one. So tonight, Pierre-Andre introduced Laurence Perneau, the new VP. I don't know where Laurence is. I'm looking around, I don't see her. Oh, she's right back there. Okay, she's the new VP of Communications for the group, the new member of our senior executive team. And she makes me real. Actually, this is Laurence's first visit to Saint-Gobain, North America, but she's actually no stranger to the US. She recently lived for 6 years in Washington. And I'm just a little nervous speaking in front of her because she has a PhD in American history and anthropology. So I was so afraid I didn't even get close to her tonight during the tour because I was so afraid she was going to ask me a history question that I just couldn't answer. So welcome, Laurence. And she's studying all of us, by the way. So all of us Americans. I have to say, this is really a beautiful room for our opening dinner. I hope you agree. And I also hope that you got a chance to explore a little bit of the museum during the cocktail hour. You know, to the right of us down this hall, there's the giant exhibit, the exhibit of the giant model of the human heart that you can walk around and climb through. And what I understand is it's about 50 years old, and if you grew up as a kid in Philadelphia, climbing through that giant heart was sort of a rite of passage. And to the left, down the other hall, is the newer modern exhibit about the human brain, where you can see how we think and reason. And of course, here in the center is this really grand statue of Ben Franklin, positioned exactly between the head and the heart. And I think that symbolism for him is just perfect. As many of you know, I recently relocated to Philadelphia. So when Carmen first told me about having the opening night of the Carrefour here at the Franklin Institute, I decided I needed to brush up on my knowledge of Ben Franklin. He was the ultimate polymath. The guy did practically everything. He was a scientist, an inventor, an author, a printer, a political theorist, a civic activist, a newspaper man, a statesman, a diplomat, and in fact, the first American ambassador to France. And the list goes on. He lived his life balanced between science and the humanities. And I think you could probably say that he's properly situated right here between the head and the heart. And I like that metaphor a lot, this idea of the head and the heart, science and humanities, facts and feelings, financial results and social responsibility. These contrasts are really interesting to me, especially as we think about who we want to aspire to be as a company, but also as leaders of Saint-Gobain. And I also think this image of balancing the head and the heart gets even more important as we think about the complex world that we live in. Ben Franklin, he used his skills and curiosity and his balance between the head and the heart to tackle the challenges of his time, to find success and ultimately leave the world a better place. There's a lot of wisdom in that for our company as we think about our strategy and tackling our challenges. So tonight, I want to talk about our biggest challenge for Saint-Gobain North America. And I think I can actually reduce it down to just one word: growth. Take a look at this chart. This shows the evolution of North America within Saint-Gobain over the past 30 years. In 1985, the sales of North America were about 16% of the group's overall revenue. This fell to about 12% in the 1990s, 1990, and then more than doubled by 2000. Since then, it's been a steady decrease to the 13% of today. Now factor in that North America during this time frame was and continues to be the world's largest economy. And I would say that where we are today, in one word, is disappointing. And in fact, when you dig just a little deeper and only look at the sales of the ongoing businesses over the past 10 years, the picture is really uninspiring. Now, I know there's a lot of reasons for this. We talked about some at my table tonight, and I'm sure many of you around here are thinking about them right now. Things like, well, we grew in emerging countries instead, or the acquisition of building distribution skews this, or we divested some businesses in North America, or the North American economy has shifted from manufacturing to services, or manufacturing has left North America and we followed our customers, or. But you know what? I've used those same reasons, but right now, I actually don't care. What I do care about is how do we change this situation? I would love to have our position in the group be the same as the North American share of the global GDP, about 25%. But actually, I think that's too much of a stretch. So maybe I say, let's make it a little easier. Let's just get back to where we were in 2005, about 17% of Saint-Gobain. What would that mean compared to where we are today? Well, in 2016, 17% of the group's sales would have meant being at $7.4 billion in revenue versus the 5.8 that we were, about 1.5 billion more. So now, if we set our sights at 17% by 2020, what would we have to do? If we assume that the group grows roughly 3% a year, we'd have to grow more than 10 to get to the 2005 position, 17% by 2020. This is my goal. I think this should be our goal. A combination of organic and external growth that could bring more than 10% per year to us, to North America. And not just any growth, but profitable growth. I had a long-time Saint-Gobain boss, Roberto Cagliari. Some of you may have known him. Unfortunately, he's passed away. He once told me, he said, Tom, sales are just vanity. And he's right. Profitable growth is the key. So how do we get there?
Excuse me? Thomas? Thomas?
I'm sorry, is somebody saying something?
Yes, Thomas. It's me up here.
Oh, Mr. Franklin, I think, is talking to us.
Of course I am. I don't talk to everyone that comes through. But you're special. You're Saint-Gobain. I know you from the time I was the American ambassador to France. In fact, I have met some of your leaders back then and was a frequent visitor to the Palace of Versailles and your Hall of Mirrors. I always thought that was so funny. One of the oldest French companies named after an Irish saint. I've been listening to your presentation, and I thought I might offer an idea or two. You don't mind, do you, Thomas?
Sure, but please call me Tom.
Wonderful. You see, Thomas, sorry, you said to call you Tom, but I have a few friends called Thomas, so I am likely to forget. But these friends of mine and I do happen to know a thing or two about the challenge you face, the challenge of growth. We did, after all, create a new nation. Always remember, growth is not a goal. It is the outcome of doing other things right. In our case, after the revolution, we had to grow our new nation. We had to create a new form of government and a new economy. We had to inspire the world to share our vision. And we knew it all depended on our people. That's what we did here in Philadelphia 240 years ago. We built a culture of business people, farmers, industrialists, traders, very, very different people. It is why we called them the United States of America. We built a culture of diverse and passionate opinions and set up a government that could use that diversity to grow a better nation together. And boy, did America grow. So, as you think about growth, remember, it is always the outcome of doing other things right. But enough about me, Thomas. Tom. I'm so enjoying this event. Why don't you keep going?
Well, thanks. I guess I couldn't have said that any better. Growth is the outcome of doing other things right. And actually, I'd like to spend the rest of my time talking about those other things for us, because they represent our growth strategy for North America. We believe there are three things that we need to do right. First, invest in talent and our people. Second, focus on customer-centric innovation. And third, ensure that we have clarity of purpose. These three things amplify one another in a virtuous cycle. A clear purpose attracts talented people aligned with that purpose. People will want to do something meaningful with their lives. A team of talented people innovate. They push boundaries to create new and better products and solutions for our customers. Customer-centric innovation that improves our world. Talented people speak louder than words by showing and clarifying our purpose, which then attracts more diverse and passionate talent to our teams. Then the cycle repeats, and it happens over and over again. What if we ignite this cycle? We'll grow. Question is how do we light that spark? So let's first talk about investing in our people. If we sit still, North America will soon face a talent crisis. I don't know how many of you have seen this data before. We have 14,500 employees across North America. Today, women make up 22% of our workforce. The average age of our employee is 52 years old. More than 50% of our senior leadership will retire within the next 5 to 7 years, and 50% of their replacements will also retire in that same time frame. And then 50% of our entire employee work population will be retirement eligible in the next 10 years. To put this another way, when we factor in our 3-year growth plans, our normal attrition, and the weight of retirements, we need to hire 5,600 people in the next 3 years. That's 35 people a week. So there should be no doubt in anybody's mind why talent recruitment is one of our top priorities. It's pretty easy to feel alarmed by these numbers, but again, I think we have to think differently about them. We have to recognize that this is an absolutely amazing opportunity for all of us in this room. You know, John Crow stood here 4 years ago at the last Carrefour and reminded us that we are the 14th generation of Saint-Gobain. We, the leaders in this audience, now have the privilege and actually the responsibility to choose the 15th generation of this company. And we have to do it at a time of huge transformation as digital technologies change the way all of us will work. So the key questions are, who should this 15th generation be? What will they look like? And how will we rise to the responsibility of hiring?
Excuse me, Tom. Me again. What you just said reminds me of something.
Oh yeah, Ben, what's that?
When I was in France, I met probably the 3rd or 4th generation of Saint-Gobain employees. And you know what? They loved the combination of science and engineering, of how to bend light, of how to create these amazing places that put the entire range of scientific knowledge on display. The Hall of Mirrors was a wonder of my time. Sure, the Saint-Gobain employees I met back then looked different than the people in this room, but I watched you, and maybe eavesdropped a little on your conversations tonight as you visited my museum, and I can tell that you shared your prior generation's innovators' mindset: intelligence, curiosity, and dedication. A balanced perspective between the head and the heart. As you set out to hire the next generation, you must find the innovators who will continue to strike that balance, the head and the heart.
Yes, I completely agree. So let me just ask you something. You've been a scientist, a writer, a publisher, statesman, an inventor, a true Renaissance man. What was it that allowed you to succeed in so many diverse fields?
I never saw myself as successful. I saw myself as curious, constantly learning. I spent my life learning. But there were 3 things that helped me. First, I always tried to put myself in the shoes of the other person. Sometimes my readers, sometimes my customers, and sometimes my constituents. But listening to their diverse views was important to me. Second, I lived in interesting times. So much was changing around the world that flexibility and agility were key. And third, I always worked to bring people together for a common cause, improving people's daily lives. I lived to make that connection between the head and the heart.
Well, I'm starting to notice some connections here myself. Listening to you makes me think about a program that we're putting in place at Saint-Gobain, our attitudes. It's a program that lays out the behaviors we want to encourage in our people. Be customer-centric, be agile, act like an entrepreneur, innovate, and build open and engaging cultures. The attitudes are not just a nice idea. They're our guide that all of our managers will use to hire the next generation of Saint-Gobain employees. And as I turn back to our challenge, hiring that new and diverse generation, I actually can't think of a better roadmap than the attitudes. Now think about this. We have to hire people for today, but more importantly, for tomorrow. We need to hire for jobs that actually haven't even been created yet, and to work on problems that haven't even been encountered yet. So we all need to think about hiring differently, in a different way than we have in the past. Simply put, I think we have to stop hiring people that look and act and think exactly like us. I know when I interview somebody, I always think more highly of them when I've made some kind of a connection during the interview. Maybe we went to the same school, maybe we grew up in the same area, maybe we had similar experience. It's really only natural that we do that. What's not natural is hiring the different person. The person who has that different set of experiences or provides a different point of view than our own. Yet, that's precisely what we have to do if we want to boost innovation and new ideas. The next generation of employees cannot be like us. Yeah, they should dream like us, yes, but they have to bring fresh perspectives to help us understand what our existing customers want and what our future customers need. We, you, me, everyone in this room tonight, we get a chance to choose who gets to do this with us. We get to find the people who share our dream, and then we get to help them invent themselves and help them reshape the world. This is going to be our legacy, that 15th generation of Saint-Gobain. And believe me, if we do it right, it'll amplify actually the second part of our growth strategy, which is customer-centric innovation. I think some of you know that I spent a good deal of my career in R&D. And actually in the old days, we had this view that innovation was the responsibility of R&D. At that time, it was all about new materials, new products, and new manufacturing processes. Over time, though, I've learned 4 major things about innovation. First, everyone has ideas and is creative. Innovation occurs at the intersection of a critical problem, diverse ideas, and people willing to listen to new perspectives. Second, innovation occurs everywhere, in every function and in every department. It's not an R&D responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility. Third, we have to move our thinking from upstream materials, products, manufacturing, to downstream, to our customers, and think about their problems with new perspectives in their eyes. And fourth, actually all of these things I just talked about can be taught and learned. Creative confidence, customer perspectives and journeys, listening skills, defeating NIH, not invented here. These things can all be taught, learned, and embedded in our people. So to fuel our growth, we have to boost customer-centric innovation. Now, we're using the word innovation actually to represent customer-centric innovation, but I don't want you to think about that as objects we make or things or products. It's also about the services we supply, the quality we provide, the way we interact with our customers. It's actually the collective of all of these things that are truly our customer-centric innovation. Just as technological change is accelerating our daily lives, actually our customers' expectations are accelerating with them. It's actually not an easy challenge. Just like us, our customers expect things fast. They can buy something on Amazon and have it delivered to their home in a day. And in fact, just last week I bought something from Amazon. It showed up within an hour. An Uber driver delivered it. They can speak in the air and Siri or Alexa will answer it almost any question they or we can ask. Customers also expect personalized interactions with products and brands. Just look at the rise of wearables or smart home devices or personalized medicine in the pharmaceutical industry. And increasingly, customers expect self-service. For example, when you book your next family vacation, could you imagine still having to call a travel agent or visit their office in person? No way. We wouldn't do it. We like to look, research, have information, and review at our fingertips. Even in the industrial B2B world, 70% of the buying decisions are made before contact with a supplier. Think about that for a moment, how that impacts our industrial businesses. So we don't just need to be aware of these trends, we need to be ahead of them. Now tomorrow, Pierre-Andre will talk about these changing trends and other global changes that's facing the group today and how he sees us responding to them. How we do this will define our future. The innovation that fuels our growth will come from throughout the organization, from a deep understanding of our customers, the people using our products in their daily lives, and a company culture of problem solving for real world impact. Now, wouldn't you agree with that, Ben?
Absolutely, Tom. You know, everyone told me I was mad when I first theorized the lightning rod. Lightning can be scary, and it was still quite a mystery to us back then. Everyone said it would be impossible to ever fully understand such a powerful force, let alone protect our buildings from its destruction. But I had a hunch that it would be possible, because I hypothesized that lightning was merely electricity, and electricity could be understood and controlled. So, as a good scientist, I ran the experiment and let the data reveal the truth. Then, as a good citizen, I did something with it to benefit my fellow citizens. It wasn't very long before lightning rods were installed on buildings, homes, and churches throughout the colonies.
Yes, that's it. That's exactly it. Impacting daily life through innovation. That's exactly the balance between the head and the heart we're talking about. Customer-centric innovation means translating ideas into real improvements in people's daily lives. This is the type of innovation that will lead to our profitable growth, because this type of innovation is a projection of our purpose as a company, which actually leads us to the third part of our growth strategy, a unified purpose. I want to go back to something that Ben said earlier to us. He said that one of the reasons he had success was because he had a strong purpose. In his case, it was trying to improve the daily lives of the people in the new America. Let's think about that relative to Saint-Gobain. How many people have seen this purpose statement for the group? Hopefully you remember it from Julie's presentation. We bring well-being to people by creating great living places and improving daily life. Go ahead, raise your hand. Okay, so everybody remembers they saw it, right? Okay, good. I have to tell you, over the last couple of months, I've visited nearly 15 plants, held 5 town halls, presented to the North American purchasing groups, the North American IT groups, the Saint-Gobain OMS group, and I asked them all the same question. I put this up, and I asked them how many people had seen it, or at least something like it. Less than a handful out of a few hundred people had actually seen our purpose statement. This needs to change. And in fact, actually this change started today with a formal launch of a campaign in France, an outside advertisement. A common unifying purpose is absolutely critical to us. So let's talk about that purpose. And let's begin by realizing that no matter where you were today, whether you were traveling here, whether you were in your home, it doesn't matter where you were probably within 50 yards of a Saint-Gobain product at pretty much any time during the day. You were impacted all day long by one of our products, whether that was the foams in your cell phone, bearings in your car, wallboard or ceilings in this building, the tubing used in the soft drink machine out front that filled your glasses. Our products were impacting your daily life, protecting it, enhancing it, making it easier, making us more comfortable, some cases even saving it, and then actually preserving it for future generations. I can't think of a more important purpose. So let's take a look at this purpose statement again. We bring well-being to people by creating great living places where people live, work, play, move, and heal, improving their daily life. Living places is not just the boundaries of our homes, it's everywhere. And I think that's a powerful unifying purpose. At Carrefour 4 years ago, when John spoke to you, he also talked about growth. And he set us on a path that we've kind of traveled over the last 4 years, which has been laying the groundwork for the years to come. If you go back and take a look at that presentation, John said, we're trying to get this balanced portfolio by cross-pollinating between the different groups of our company. And I'll say, while we have made progress to increase communications and flow of ideas between the groups, we didn't have that unifying purpose, our true why. Why do we exist? But now I strongly believe that we have it, thanks to Pierre-Andre and his guidance on this. It's about impacting people's comfort and well-being by creating great living places and improving their daily life. Every business, every person in the group has a stake in this. Now, that's kind of easy to stand up here and say. Hard to communicate, believe, and actually bring to life. But that's what we need to do. Over the past 10 months, I've met a lot of people in our businesses in North America. What I've actually learned is that while most people know about their business, they know very little about the other parts of North America. Our employees actually know very little about their own company, Saint-Gobain, our purpose, our beliefs, what's important to us. Now, I've been in the group for almost 30 years, and so I guess you'd ask, am I surprised by this? Actually, no. We've been mostly designed to focus on our individual businesses and functions, but Pierre-Andre and the broader leadership team have worked really hard to start to drive that common purpose and common company culture. It's something that the people in this room, I believe, have to accelerate in North America, because the external forces, whether it's talent acquisition, innovation, new organizational models, speed, they're reshaping our markets and our world. And we have to realize that we can't grow in this new environment by just thinking of our existing businesses. We need to find the market opportunities that might lie in between our businesses, approach customers with solutions that might span our organizations, have a stronger market focus, have flexible teams that work across functions and businesses, and create a sense of purpose that will energize all of us, and actually, in turn, attract that next and 15th generation of Saint-Gobain. 1 year ago, I was actually sitting where most of you are in an independent business. And yes, I do a few things to help others, but actually mostly I was thinking about optimizing my perimeter, my business. It actually wasn't until I stepped into this job that I started to think more broadly. And if I'm really honest, it's changed me. I'm gaining perspective that I really didn't have before, and by the way, I'm learning, which it's never too late. And I'm starting to see the power of coming together, maybe something I didn't see before. I don't expect immediate miracles, but I will say that if we don't collectively change our sight lines, lift up our eyes, look out, and start to live with a unifying purpose as one Saint-Gobain, then we won't ignite that growth cycle. Purpose is an incredibly powerful thing. One of the toughest moments, and I think everybody can reflect back on this, of this year was the cyber attack. But many people will also tell me it was one of the most fulfilling. I've talked to a lot of people in the group about this. It was one of our scariest moments, but also one of our most gratifying, because it was unifying. To be part of an event, a terrible event, but an event where everyone was pulling together, finding fast solutions, being agile, cooperating across businesses and functions, the teamwork that was involved, it was incredible. We actually had a unifying purpose. We were one Saint-Gobain. Now just imagine a new reality where we had that unifying purpose every single day, what we could accomplish. Go back to that feeling in July, and I leave that to your imagination. I actually want to leave you with one more image tonight. It's two strands of DNA. It's the DNA of Saint-Gobain. The first strand is the head. It's where we're most comfortable for a long time. It's the technology, the science, the process, the analysis, the facts, the data, the engineering that says we can invent and make things in a physical world. But then there's the second strand, the heart, which brings together the human purpose and impact, our empathy for our customers and their needs, our care and concern for the development of our teams, our people, our communities. It's a thread that stretches actually across our 14 generations of employees. And now think of those two strands bound together by our core values, our principles of conduct and action. Respect for the law, respect for people, respect for our communities, respect for the environment, respect for each other, trust, solidarity, loyalty, and integrity. And now if we take that DNA and we bring it into the people with our attitudes, working together for a unified purpose, imagine what we could achieve together. We've accomplished a lot as a group on both a global scale and right here in North America. But the next phase will even be more critical as the pace of technology, digital transformation, customer expectations, and risk is quickening. We have to speed up. But frankly, the old way of working harder and faster as individuals, it's not going to do it. We have to find ways to work differently, collectively, together, with diversity of thoughts and ideas. Our job in North America is to localize the vision and mission of Pierre Andre and the purpose of Saint-Gobain to achieve those uniquely American and Canadian points of view and experiences. Only we can do that. We're not implementing a separate strategy. We're deepening and expanding the single overriding strategy of the group. So think about the attitudes. If you don't understand why they're important, then think again. So here's our ask for you for the next 24 hours that we're together. Take off your specific or functional hat and put on your Saint-Gobain hat. Look at things wider, from a wider perspective. Earlier tonight, Julia gave you an overview of the makeup of the group and highlighted a few of North America's importance and uniqueness in the group. Tomorrow, Pierre Andre will take you through the group as it stands today, our priorities and our 10-year vision of the strategy of the group. And then you'll have a series of breakouts sessions. They're designed to give you further insights into our company and the three other things we have to do right. Take the time, make the effort to listen, question, and learn about your group, our DNA, how you can help your company deliver on our common purpose. We bring well-being to people by creating great living places and improving daily life. This responsibility is ours, the 300 people in this room tonight, the North American leaders of the Saint-Gobain Group who sit right here between the head and the heart in the Franklin Institute to secure our future by hiring the talent, building the customer-centric innovation, and leveraging all of our attributes as a group with a clear and unifying purpose. Now I'm finished, but before we depart, I have to ask my friend Ben if there's anything he'd like to add to that.
Just one last thing, something I learned from my friends in France a long, long time ago. Tell me, and I forget. Teach me, and I remember. Involve me, and I learn. I hope you learn much from each other.
Well, I can't say that any better. And Ben, I just want to thank you for being part of our evening. And for everyone else, good night, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you.